Hi, I'm Pamela, and welcome to Green Stick Cottage, where I knit, crochet, and do other yarny things whenever the cats allow me to. So this is YarnTube 13, number 13. So it's been a while, so I have a lot to show. So it might take a while. I'll try to go quickly. But anyway, first off, I got a nice thank you card from KK and Kristen at K&K Crochet for my participation in the collection of hats and other cold weather accessories and items for the needy, and it is called Bumblebee's Mountain Rescue. So you should get in on that, and I think they were at 600 hats, and I think the goal is 800 or 900. So when I say hats, it means, it could be gloves, scarves, shawls, any kind of item that could be helpful in cold weather for those that don't have them and stuff. So anyway, I love flowers, so I love this. So thank you for that sweet note. And moving along, I have finishes. Actual finishes, yes. So I'm excited. The first one is this is more of a soft finish because it still needs to be blocked. But this is the kids' fedora I was working on, and I need to, get the brim straightened out, do the steam blocking, put the crease in up here, and get that to stay, and kind of make it look more like a fedora. I'm not sure how to do that. And so I've been kind of procrastinating doing the full finish with the blocking, the steam blocking, because I don't want to burn my hands, and I've never done it before, so I'm at least not where I had to touch it and make creases and things. But I do like the way the gray and black went together. I made the band here with black, and the pattern was actually very easily doable, and it's tight. It's crocheted tightly because of the because you need the stiffness, and you can kind of see a seam here in the back. But I'll be putting the crease up front, and trying to make it look as dashing as possible for my grandson, who's turning 12 in September. And this was done with Red Heart Super Saver in gray heather and black. And I believe, I should have gotten my cards out. Hang on, I'll need these. But I'm pretty sure it was an E hook, and but let me get that figured out in millimeters. Until I get metrically trained, it's going to take a while. So the kids' fedora was with an E, 3.5 millimeters. So that's how I made that one. And I really love it, and I think it'll look great after I get it blocked. So hopefully I can get it I'll have to get it fully finished before I mail it, and I'll try to get it filmed. Even if I have to do it in a short, I'll try to get it filmed before I pack it and mail it. So that is the kids' fedora. And the next finish I had was the hyperbolic Mobius never-ending fidget toy, and I made this one. Finally, I made one for myself. So this one is mine, and it resides in my backpack/purse. And this is Red Heart Super Saver in Melonberry. And the way this works is you have this center hole, and you can pull this through over and over, and it never ends. You never come to the end of it. You just keep pulling. And sometimes I'll play with this when I'm reading just, you know, to have something to do with my hands while I'm reading. And since I keep it in my backpack, you know, it's always there. You know, if I have a grandchild that wants something to play with, I can turn it over to them. So it's going back into the backpack. So finally I made something for me. I made something else for me, which is the lacy shawl. This was the the pattern for things we're making Thursday for August, and I finished it in August, believe it or not. So it is called the Lacy Shawl, and it is a free pattern on Yarnspiration's website. And I used what is it, Mainstays Sparkle acrylic, I think. Where did I put that? All right, well, apparently I don't have the card handy, but it might be in a different section. Let's see here. Oh, and the hyperbolic Mobius never-ending fidget toy. That's a pattern by Lisa Cole. The Kids Fedora is by Pierrot Yarns, but I found it on Ravelry with that name, Kids Fedora, if you're interested. And it is mainly a chart with symbols, is how you make it. And it was actually easy to follow. I was really impressed with that. And again, the hyperbolic Mobius never-ending fidget toy is a pattern by Lisa Cole. I also found that on Ravelry, and there's a link that takes you to her blog where the pattern, it's more of a guide than a pattern, so you can kind of change it up however you want. And for that, I used an E, the same E 3.5 millimeter hook with the Red Heart Super Saver Melonberry color. And yeah, I don't have anything. I must have put my Lacy Shawl project card away somewhere else because it's not in my usual spot here, probably because I finished it. So, but I think it was Mainstays Sparkle Acrylic, I think is what it was, which is a number 4 weight yarn, as everything I've shown so far was 4 weight. And this really does sparkle, and the name of the color is teal, and so it's a very beautiful blue with all these waves, and it is a lot of double trebles, which I love. I love doing double trebles, and so it's all ready for me to wear in the winter. I'm so excited. It's pretty hot now, but it's too hot to wear now, but I'll be looking forward to wearing it when the weather gets colder. And so I'm excited. I'm excited that one's done. I'm so happy because I loved it. I loved it while I was making it, and now I'm going to love wearing it. My next finish is a start and finish, because I started it after my last YarnTube. And I'm calling this the Princess Hat. And I put together different patterns to make this, and I do have this card here somewhere. I just saw it a minute ago. Yes, I used, this is also Mainstays, this is 100%, Mainstays 100% acrylic, another 4 weight yarn. I used an 5.5 millimeter hook. I used yellow and pink, as you can see here. And what I did, I wanted long ringlets for this, for my granddaughter, whose birthday is coming up. And so I made these ringlets by, the hat is 66 stitches. So I just took 66, added 3 for the turning chain, and then did 3 double crochets in each chain back to the beginning. of the chain to make the ringlet. And I made 11 ringlets, attached them with the first 4 stitches, and so 2/3 of the hat is filled in with ringlets, and then this third of the hat is the forehead. So that's how, I just wanted to come up with a number I could remember, and since I knew the final circumference of this hat was 66 stitches, I figured I could remember that and add 3 for the turning chain, and I could do it 11 times to come up with these ringlets that I hope she will love. And then I did the hat. So I did the ringlets first, then I did the hat, which is the basic half double crochet beanie, I think it's called, by Umbaka Designs, which is the same hat I used for the octopus hat. And it's such a good hat pattern. It's very simple. The math is easy, and I mean, you don't have to do the math. She's done the math. It just helps me to remember it's in multiples of 8. And so anyway, it's a great pattern, and it's on her blog, and it is sized from preemie to large adult, and I chose the child 6 to 10 years old size because my granddaughter's turning 7. And so I did the hat, and then the final round of the hat is a slip stitch round. And so when I did the final slip stitch round, I slip stitched on each of the ringlets and incorporated them into the final slip stitch round. And then I did the crown last. And the crown is called Princess Crown, I think. I'll try to include the links for these, by Ira Rott. And again, I found it on Ravelry. It's a nice basic crown pattern. And I did not follow the hook size or any of that. I just kept using the same eye hook that I used for the hat and for the ringlets. And I just chose the crown that was 66. It happened to have one of the crown sizes was 66 stitches around. So that was just kind of fortuitous for me. So I just single crocheted into the slip stitch, the top loop of the slip stitch around the brim of the hat here. I single crocheted with the pink all the way around to create the foundation row for the crown, and then I followed the directions for the crown the rest of the way, and just put it right, made it a part of the hat. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope she loves it. And anyway, I would have loved it at 7 years old, having all these ringlets there. I actually, when I was growing up, our nanny used to do my sisters and my hair just like this. I mean, we had to have, we had the rag curls. She did our hair in the rag curls, and then in the morning, when we went to school, she put big bows, just big bows in our hair. And anyway, it was, I love looking back at those pictures. So this is the princess hat, a start and a finish. And so that is, so that's the end of my finishes. I did have a couple of other kind of new starts. The first one, I guess you could call it, this isn't really a start. Well, it's kind of a start of something, but I don't know what yet. But I started doing, I was doing t-shirt yarn, recycling t-shirts and other cotton knit items. And then I decided I had a woven, a regular fabric shirt, and that had been, gotten bleach on it or something, it was black. And so I created, so I made yarn out of this, and I'm not sure how well it's going to work. I have done, we used to call it rag crochet. I think they call it fabric crochet now. But anyway, I got, after dealing with the t-shirt yarn and this, new ball of fabric yarn, I finally got smart and went to, and I got at Dollar Tree these little clips, hair clips like this. And they're all they're in real pretty colors. I got, I don't know, 3 or 4 cards of them, and I figure these are the perfect thing to use to secure these balls of repurposed clothing and stuff, and that I can keep them from unrolling themselves. Now let's see, I guess I have to secure it properly to get it to work right, but anyway, so it takes a lot longer to get a ball of yarn out of a garment than I thought it would. So I don't know how much I'll keep doing this. I want to do it to everything, either that or like with the denim type items, the heavier fabrics, I'm wanting to cut those into rectangles and squares to make denim quilts. So I haven't gotten that far in my repurposing or recycling project, if that's what you want to call it. I'm not sure what to call it. Okay, so I started my fabric crochet recycling. And then I've also, Connie at Just Another Stitch, she started a granny square blanket crochet along that is from August 1st to December 31st. And at first I wasn't going to do that because I couldn't think of any granny square blanket that I wanted to, I've made so many granny square blankets and I just couldn't think of anything, but I decided to go through my favorites on Ravelry and see if anything really sparked my excitement, and I did find one. And so really it wasn't the pattern itself, it was the way someone who had recently completed a blanket with the pattern, the way they did the pattern. So I am just brazenly copying that crocheter. I can't remember, but I'm not going to link anything because I'm keeping this a secret. I'm gonna this is going to be a mystery blanket until I start joining it, and then I will, as I'm joining, I'll show my progress, and people can guess what the outcome is going to look like. But I will show you the components. So I am using 8 different colors plus black for this blanket. So the first color I did was red, and so there are 2 7 round squares and 5 3 round squares in red for my blanket. And so let me find a place to put these. I guess I'll put them on top of the princess hat for now. And then I went on to green, and this is all the green squares that are going to be in the blanket, the same number. 2 7 round, 5 3 rounds. So I've got red and green. And then starting with orange, there's a little bit more. There's 3 of the 7 round squares, dropped 1. And there are 6 of the 3 round squares in orange. So there'll be a little bit more orange than red and green. And by the way, this is all Mainstays yarn, 100% acrylic, number 4 weight, and this is blue. Mainstays has, they just basically have basic colors, and that's why I chose to use it, because I don't want to get too complicated for myself. I'll just go with red, yellow, green, orange, blue, and keep it simple and make them solid color squares. And so again, 3 7 round, 6 3 round in blue. And now all of those are complete. That's, you know, I won't be making any more of these colors. Then I went on to orange, and I used what I had left for the princess hat, and I didn't get far enough, so I have to go shopping and get some more Mainstays yellow. And it's going to be the same 3 7 rounds and 6 3 rounds, so I have 5 more of these to make. Then I'll weave in all the ends like I did on the others, and yellow will be completed. And that's as far as I've gotten. I still need to do teal, pink, and purple. Then I'll start on the black squares. So you know, I'm slowly getting there. And this is the perfect project to bring to my handcrafters group, because it's granny squares and I can do those pretty mindlessly, so I can talk a mile a minute like everybody else in the group does. Well, everybody's not as chatty as I am, but some are even chattier than I am, so I'm kind of in the middle. And so it's always good to find the perfect project for handcrafters group. And so that's those are, you know, so that's my new starts. And now I'll go on to whips, and I've got my, what I'm calling my cotton yak top, because it calls for cotton yak yarn. But oh, and by the way, that's an eye hook on the granny squares, and I can't, oh, 5.5 is the eye hook. And so for this top, I'm just using 100% cotton, again, Mainstays. And let me see, I tried to mark this so I would remember which is the right side and which is the wrong side. Okay, I marked in the corner right here. So this is the front, well, this is the right side of the back of the top. Okay, and this is where I was. I'm using this marker to mark where I was. So this is, I haven't done any knitting on the back piece, and I am at row 45. I've finished 45 rows on the piece that's for the back of the top. And I explained this last time, that I discovered when I read further on into the pattern that the back and the front are exactly the same piece. And I thought, oh, if I had only known that, I would have been knitting both of them at the same time. So I ended up stopping there on row 45, and then I cast on for the front, and so I don't want to lose any stitches here, so so I started the front. So this is the front of the front, the right side of the front. And last time I had completed, let me hold it differently here. All I had completed was the ribbing here at the beginning of the piece. And now I am at row 25 of the pattern. So I start counting over again. After the ribbing is completed, I start counting again. So the back is on row 45 of the pattern stitch, and this one is on row 25 of the pattern stitch. So I have 20 rows to go on the front here to catch up to the back, and then I can start knitting with row 46. I'll be knitting both pieces at the same time, you know, one right after the other. And I'm keeping them all on the same circular needle, keeping both pieces on the same circular needle to keep it as simple as possible for myself, because I like simple. So that is, and I'm still loving this mint green color, and it is so nice and soft, and it's squishy and nice, and it is Like I said, it's 100% cotton mainstays. And I believe I'm using, let's see, do I have this card? I should have this card here somewhere. See, I get my cards so organized that, you know, it's like, now they're going to be all mixed up because I'm searching through them, but I kind of put them in a priority order, and then they, you know, then when I'm searching for things, I get them all mixed up. But yeah, the cotton yak top is a US 6, and this is my beautiful Knit Picks Anniversary Edition interchangeable needles. You know, the birchwood, purple colored birchwood needles, and it is a US 6 or 4mm needle that I'm using. The pattern actually the cotton yak yarn that the pattern calls for is a size 3, you know, a number 3 weight yarn. This is on the label a number 4, but it's a very lightweight number 4, so I'm hoping it will work out fine. And I started this for Connie at Just Another Stitch, her weight loss make-along, where you choose a garment to make in a smaller size so that it's more incentive to lose the weight you want to lose, so you can fit into your garment that you're making. So I'm not sure, I chose the smaller, my measurements put me between 2 sizes, so I chose the smaller size. So I'm hoping it will fit me by the time I get it done, and I hope it's not, you know, I've run into a lot of my clothes being too big for me, so anyway, but at least it's cotton. It might shrink if I need it to shrink, but anyway, hopefully I made the right choice on the size. All right. So next is my Lizzie blanket, my poor Lizzie blanket that is not getting much attention in the summer because it's so big and heavy. It is, I love it. I love it. The bigger it gets, the more I love it. It is beautiful. This is a pattern designed by Anya at Ophelia Talks, and it is based on, she was inspired to design this blanket by the Pride and Prejudice movie, and so this was a perfect crochet during Jane Austen July on BookTube. And there's 5 sections for the length of the blanket, named for the 5 Bennett daughters, and so I completed the Jane section, the Elizabeth section, the Mary section, the Kitty section. I'm now on the Lydia section, which is the final section to finish the blanket, and each section is 30 rows. So this purple marker is where I was last time on my last YarnTube video, and so I've gotten 5 rows done in the Lydia section, and I'm up to here, which is row 135. So there are 15 rows to go to finish the length of the blanket, and then the final section is Mr. Darcy, is named Mr. Darcy, and it is the envelope border that is going to go around the whole blanket and cover up all these ends. That's where all the ends are going. And so I have never done one of those kind of borders before, so I'm looking forward to learning how to do that. I think it's, from what I've heard, it's rather challenging, and but I'm always up for a challenge. So anyway, I just love this blanket. So I'll be, I don't know that I'm going to keep it. I might give it to one of my daughters, but hopefully it'll be done when it's actually needed in the winter time. So we'll see. And so that's my progress on the Lizzie blanket, and what I'm using for the Lizzie blanket. Let's see if we can find it here in the cards. I should have gotten these cards ready when I was piling everything up here, and Come on, I know you're in here somewhere. Anyway, it is Big Twist yarn, and I got all of the purples and all of the pinks, and it uses 15 colors. And I got all the purples and all the pinks, and I still needed 3 more colors to make, the total of 15. So then I got 3 blues, and that's how I created my color palette, which is not at all the color palette that the pattern calls for, but I like it because I love purples, pinks, blues. Of course, I love all kinds of colors. Okay, I finally found my Lizzie card. And it is, I'm using an H hook, 5mm for that, and I used Big Twist Value Solids for that. So that's what's going on with that. And let's see what we have next. This is my Plarn project. It got kind of squished in the whip bag. But this is I'm making an organizer caddy with the Plarn that I have, and this is this is yarn made out of plastic grocery bags from the store, and so this recycles the plastic bags, and these happen to be Walmart bags that are gray with blue print on them, and this is a real pretty pattern. Stitch pattern. It's hard to see it in the Plarn as well as you can see it with regular yarn. This pattern was actually written for regular yarn, and it looks really pretty in that. If you look it up on Ravelry, I'll try to include the link to it. And but last time I had just finished the base, and now I finished the whole center. This is the center canister of the organizer caddy. I think there are 7 more shorter canisters that go around this, and then a handle here. And so I'm using Plarn, and I believe I'm using, it's a J hook, which is must be 6mm if I is 5.5, so maybe a J is 6mm. So that's my progress. It's not a real. This is one of my lower priority whips because, like I said, the actual creation of the Plarn, I have to be watching something entertaining and do it during that. And a lot of you fill that bill for me because I love watching YouTube and all my yarny friends. And that way I can watch you, I can look up whenever I need to, because it's kind of a mindless activity. And the way I do it is I fold the bag, I flatten it out and I fold it in half, and then I fold it in half again when it's laying lengthwise. And then I cut off the bottom and I cut off the handles. And then with the rest of it, I just fold it in half, cut it, fold that half in half, cut it. Eventually I get 8 loops, and then I loop those together the same way you would loop rubber bands together. And that's how I make the Plarn. And so I get 8 of those loops out of each bag. And I am very behind on my Plarn making. I have like a whole lot of a bag full of a whole lot of bags that I haven't cut up yet. So we'll see. This is not a big priority for me, but I do like the idea of making things out of it, and I do want to make like a big runner for where the cat boxes are. I'm thinking that might be a good idea, a good way of using it, because then if it gets filled up with litter they've scattered around, I could just roll it up and throw it away if I want to, or shake it out, take it outside, shake it out, wash it off, whatever. Okay, so that's the organizer caddy. Then my walker caddy, this goes on my walker, and it's going to have pockets. This section here is all half double crochet, so this is another nice mindless project. I have reached the midway point for this piece, because this is basically going to hang on the front of the walker. And so I'm at the halfway point. So half of it's going to be hanging over the front, and so it'll be kind of like this, but longer like this. And so I've got the first half finished. Then so it's going to be twice as long as this, and then I'm going to make the pockets out of different colors, and I'm gonna, the pattern itself only has the pockets on one side. I'm gonna make pockets on both sides, and because I go shopping with my walker, I don't use a shopping cart. I use my walker so I can sit down whenever I want to or need to, and because it's a four-wheel rolling walker, and so I have a basket on there, but it only holds so much. I also have shopping bags that I can hang on the handles, and so I can actually gather up a lot of stuff at the store, and but with pockets in here I could gather up even more is what I'm thinking. And this is Red Heart Super Saver in burgundy, which I love this color, and I'm using a, hold please, a G 4.0 millimeters. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. So this is a 4-weight yarn with a G, so it's nice and it's kind of sturdy and stiff, but not as stiff as it would be if I was using the E hook. So but I'm happy with my progress there, and I'm using my Blossom bag yarn holder, skein holder, and so that's that part. And then spikes around yarn bowl, that I have added another layer. I think of this like a layer cake. It's supposed to be a yarn bowl, and or a basket, whatever but it's called spikes around yarn bowl, and I want to make it to fit this extra large mandala cake. And what do they call it? Bonus bundle or something? I don't want to screw it up too bad here. Mandala bonus bundle. Yeah, that's what it is. And I wanted to, because I want to make a blanket out of this. I have several of these. Excuse me. And I want to make a blanket out of it. I'm thinking about Faith by, I think it's Helen Shrimpton. Is that who does that one? And she's got a new one coming out called Revelation. So I might switch to that one. I don't know. But I have no business starting another blanket yet. I already started the Granny Square blanket, so I'm not going to dive into another blanket yet. As I've been doing my craft room recovery project, recovery and reorganization project, oh my gosh, there are so many blankets unfinished in there, and I so want to finish them all. So as I bring those, I'll bring those out, but look, I'm already over half an hour just on what I'm currently doing, but I will try to show those as I go along. So here's where I was on the spikes around yarn bowl. I was on this round of I call them icicles, and so I was on this round. So I've done another layer up to the next round of icicles. I think that's 5 rounds to get to that point, each of these sections. And I'm using Red Heart Super Saver number 4 weight yarn in white. And this is Red Heart with, the blue is Red Heart with Love. Also a number 4 weight in deep blues, it's called, the colorway. I don't know if they still have that colorway. I found it in my leftover yarns and I loved it, so I decided to make this wintry looking yarn bowl to accommodate my mandala cakes. So so that's where that is. And I just do, that's what I do in the rotation. I will pick out a certain amount to do, like on my Walker Caddy, it's 1 inch. I want to add an inch each time I work on it. And on Lizzie blanket, I'm trying to do 5 rows, but sometimes it's too hot to, and then I'll do 1 row. But on this, I try to do 1, get all the way to the icicles again. And it looks like I'm not going to have that much farther to go, maybe 1 or 2, probably 2 more layers of icicles will get me up high enough, and so we'll see. All right, so that's that whip, and then my next whip is, and these are only the whips I've worked on since the last video. I'm trying to keep track of these. So the next thing is my yarn box, or my card box, which is plastic canvas, and I have made some progress on that, and it is in a pattern book called Games in Plastic Canvas, and I had already finished the yarn, or I've got yarn on the mind. I'm using Mainstays yarn for those. Oh, and for this basket, I forgot about that, for the yarn bowl, I'm using an E 3.5 millimeter hook for this to keep it tight and stiff to be more like a basket. For the card box, I am using Mainstays number 4 weight yarn in black, white, and red, and that's the lid of the yarn box. And last time I had these, they're calling these the lid sides, and I had these finished, except I had not embroidered on the word cards. I personally think of these parts as the front and back of the lid, because they're going to go on the lid like this on the front and on the back. So, but they call it the lid sides in the pattern. But I got cards embroidered on there, and I like the way it turned out. I had to re-chart it because they had it too far this way, and there was too much space between the S here, and so I kind of moved them and more evenly spaced the letters, and I'm a lot happier. I tried it a couple of times their way, didn't like it, so I recharted it, and now I really like it. So it says cards, and then they're calling these pieces the lid ends, which I would call the sides. So here's the lid, here's the front, and this to me is the side, but they're calling it the ends. And so I got those 2 pieces done, and so basically the lid is ready to put together, but I'm going in the order that the pattern says, and then they say the next step is to do the box bottom. So I got started on that, and the box bottom is in black. However, you need to keep this center, what would you call that, line? That center line has to be kept free, and so you're really going to do 2 sections of black here, keeping this this line here next to the edge free, because you're going to put a divider here. That's another piece it's not going to be worked with yarn, and the sides and the front and the back I don't think those are going to be worked with yarn either, other than attaching them to this bottom piece. And so then your 2 decks of cards, one will go on this black spot and one will go on this spot when it's black, and then you're going to join the parts that go around here to this outside line. So anyway, so hopefully I'm not too far away from getting this card box done, and then I will be working on the long stitch sachets, which I'm more excited about doing those. They look like they're going to be a lot more fun. They're different designs on each one, and a lot of animals and things like that, so I'm looking forward to those. But I do like, the meditative, this is basically needlepoint on plastic canvas instead of, fiber canvas. And so I like doing it. I used to do a lot of needlepoint, and so I like that. And so that is the end. That's all the whips I worked on between videos. And so now I'm going to share some haul I got. I didn't get much, so don't worry. It won't take too long. First, I wanted to make some stitch markers, but which really I wanted them for progress markers, to show my progress, where I was last time and how much I got done since the last video. And so I got these, I got this charm assortment here that has all different kinds of charms. Let's see if I can get, so it's got a very interesting assortment. So I thought that would be fun to work with, to make some progress markers. And then I got these, which they're a little smaller. There's a lot smaller, but they look like opals to me, and opal is my favorite gemstone. So I got 16 of these, and they might be good for knitting markers more than progress markers. These larger ones seem like they'd be better for progress markers. So we'll see. And then I got the some of the lobster clasps to use, and the split rings to put them together. So I've got that little collection to work on. Then I love these boxes, by the way. These are at Walmart for $1.44. You can't beat it. They are, even Dollar Tree can't really, I haven't found anything this good at Dollar Tree. And it's a double-sided box, and with little compartments. So this is where this is where these things are going to go. These little charms and things, they're going to go in here to keep my. So there's your, there's one side, and there's the other side. So, and they have different sizes on each side. And I just went ahead and got 2 this time. I have a couple more. This one holds stitch markers, different kinds of stitch markers, and point protectors for knitting needles, row counters for knitting needles, and then these little clips I got to use on my t-shirt yarn and fabric yarn, and so all kinds of little things. And my other one holds the accessories like the keys and the connectors and the end stops for my interchangeable knitting needles. It holds all those little items so they won't get lost. So if you have little things you want to keep track of, these, and they stay closed pretty, I haven't had a disaster. As long as I snap them, make sure they're snapped. So that's my recommendation on that. If you have little things you want to keep track of, and if your notions bag is big enough, you can carry them with you. Okay, so that was part of my haul. The other part is I got this number 3 weight yarn from Bernat. It's Bernat Baby Sport, both of them, and I'm going to be making the Sunny set for it's in a book I think called It's a Little Girl Thing or something like that. It's a real cute little set, and it's in yellow, purple, and green, the model for the pattern. They didn't have green, or I would have gotten those colors, but they didn't have any green at Walmart, which is my only yarn store available in town. And so I love the purple, so I got the big ball of purple. What do they call it? let's see, and this is number 3 weight yarn, and this one is called Lavender. So and I like this yarn. It's really good. And then this one is the multicolor. It's more of a multicolor, and they call it Tiny Tulips. And it has pinks, and it has some green and some purple and white. So I think, and I got a second opinion from my daughter in the store. I said, do these go together okay? You know, so this will be the main color. This will be the contrast, you know, the trim, basically. And let's see if it'll show up better. And so I'm looking forward to starting this. So this is definitely going to be started. I have to get, I think I have to get 2 more hats finished for grandchildren birthdays, and then I can start on this. And so I'm really looking forward to that. So that was my haul this week, and so now I'll just go over my other plans. So one of the hats that I have to make the next hat I'm going to do is going to be using mainstays again, number 4 weight, in red, white, and blue. And maybe you can guess what hat this will be. It's going to be a Spider-Man hat. So for a grandson that likes Spider-Man. So I think this will be fun. I'm going to enjoy getting started on that one. So that'll be the next hat I start, and that'll be soon. That'll be pretty soon here. And I wanted to put some thread crochet into my rotation. So I've been aching to do some thread crochet. So I am going to be doing the Antebellum Collection Miss January 1991 from Annie's Attic. This is for Barbie doll size dolls. And I will put the picture up here of Miss January. And I got these lovely size 10 Red Heart Classic, size 10, in this lovely squished ball form at Walmart. So I got white. I got a lot of white. And because the first thing I've got to make is what the pattern calls the pillow form. And the pillow form is basic. It's like a pillow, I guess, because these started off as called bed pillow dolls. So it has like a pillow form that is it calls for a 12-inch cardboard circle. So I got to get that at the store still. Anyway, somehow I got to have a cardboard circle, and plastic canvas. The plastic canvas makes a tube. So you basically have a dome, and this is her hoop skirt because it's the Antebellum Collection. So this is what creates the dome that makes it look like a hoop skirt dress. And the plastic canvas, you make a tube out of it that goes in the middle of the dome, so the doll's legs, go down into the tube, and then you put the pretty, gown on the doll, and the skirt goes over the pillow form, making it look like she's wearing a hoop skirt. So the dress itself, so the pillow form is you use a double strand of this. You use 2 threads at a time with a size 0 steel hook to make the pillow form. And so that's why I got a lot of white for that, and white is the easiest to find, of course, in size 10 crochet cotton. So I have that ready to go. And the gown itself for Miss January is blue and white, and I decided to go with this blue. I ordered several crochet threads like this Aunt Lydia's Classic 10 from Hirschner's. They had a good price on this for sale, and so I got several. I think I got the colors I needed for January, February, March, and April, maybe even May. But for January, I decided I like this color blue. I think it's a little darker than the picture looks to me. But this color is called Blue Hawaii, and I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a gorgeous blue color. So that's what I will be making her dress with, is the blue and the white. And so I have those threads and my crochet hooks ready to go to start that when the mood hits me to do some thread crochet. So that is it for this YarnTube. Got it in under an hour. But that's a lot of stuff. So I probably need to start doing videos more often, but I like waiting until there's something to show, especially finishes. I like showing finishes. So we'll see if I can get the Spider-Man hat done and maybe something else before the next video. So I will leave you with that, and thank you for watching, and happy stitching, whether you're crocheting or knitting or whatever. I hope you're having a good time doing that, and goodbye.